Welcome to the C Files, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel. Folks, we're here to help those who are suffering through the results of this election. So if you know of anyone who's having difficulty adjusting to the results of the election, send them to my channel because I'm here to help. I am going to become the official TDS counselor channel for those who are suffering from that horrible disease of TDS. And maybe, just maybe, we can get them the help that they need. You've all seen the breakdowns, the videos of people crying, the videos of people throwing fits and tantrums and just in shock and disbelief that anyone would even dare think about voting for that man. Well, look, folks, somebody needs to step up and help these folks. So I'm here for them. In the meantime, I want you to see the real power behind the movement that elected Donald J. Trump President of the United States. Folks, that's the real power behind the movement that elected Donald Trump president. God has been in this thing the whole time, and he's moving on hearts all across this nation. If you go to my X account, Jeff Claiborne on X, if you scroll far enough down, you'll see videos of revivals that are occurring on college campuses all across the country. Students coming to Christ, being baptized. Now, I don't know how many of them will be true followers of Christ, how many of them will stick it out through a lifetime into faith. But I do know that many of them will. And that alone will change the dynamic of this nation. It will change the spiritual nature of this nation. If you cannot see that this has been a spiritual warfare all along, then you are like those that the Bible speaks of in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. That the natural man does not understand the things of God because they are foolishness to him. They are spiritually discerned. This kind of thing cannot occur without spiritual discernment and without a moving of God upon the hearts of the people. What we have had my entire lifetime, and I'm 64 years old, is corruption in government, the suppression of the people, attacking the people, in under the cloak of cover, of course, keeping us mesmerized by entertainment, movement, movies, sitcoms. And when we do sit down to watch the news, it was Tavistock Institute designed propaganda. And rarely did we actually receive anything resembling the truth. They were giving us a lobotomy. They were taking out the brain that our forefathers had, a brain of reason, a brain of logic, a brain that could create a syllogism in their head and say point 1, point 2, point 3, therefore, conclusion. And they put in a brain that was incapable of thinking that way. In other words, that's called brainwashing. That's mind manipulation. Mind control techniques have been used my entire lifetime against the entire population of the United States. Through the movies, through the sitcoms, through the news agencies, the official word put out from the government. 1984 has been here a long time, folks. What's happened in the last 8 years or so is that there's been a great awakening, and the people woke up. And one of my favorite movies is The Matrix, because it really does resemble what has happened in the last 8 years. We were attached to the machine, but one day we woke up and unattached ourselves. And we saw the world as it really is. And the result? Well, we're going to see the result over the next 4 years. And it just might be glorious. As long as we continue to honor God and glorify Him for everything that He does for us over the next 4 years, we'll be okay. And God will continue to bless us. Let's take a look at a few other things. This is my X account. So anything like this that has the music and the videos, I can't show on YouTube because of copyright.
Joe Biden in 2020. So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here.
Let me show you this. These always cut on automatically, so I have to do this. But this is what causes shock. And look, folks, less than half, but millions of people across the country are in shock today that the candidate they wanted to win the election did not win it. Let me demonstrate shock to you.
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go.
Do you hear him? Holy smokes. Now he's talking about counties across the country where Harris outperformed Biden. Biden going against Trump in 2020, Harris going against Trump in 2024. Folks, other than my symbol in the background, right there, that's my little microphone that's shining, the neon lights, and the screen picks it up. As you can see me moving, I'm blocking that. That is not a part of it. That map is completely blank. In other words, she didn't outperform Biden anywhere in the country. Nowhere. Not one county. Haha. I knew that people didn't like her. Look, I was a police officer when she was Attorney General in California. And I only have to, I can only think that the people who voted for her didn't really know a whole lot about her. But I knew a lot about her, and there was no way I was going to vote for her because I knew the type of person she was. I had to deal with her when I was in law enforcement in California. Now, we'll continue.
So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
Places. So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we can show you that as
So
well.
that
We
was a
just
shot.
bring that out
Look,
here.
let me go back. He says, literally nothing? Literally not one county? He was in shock. Let me move this forward and show you. Look at his body language. Okay, watch his body language. He finds out it's nothing. Now, coming up. See if he, oh, they're not showing his body language, just his voice. Okay. But literally nothing. They didn't want to show his body language, so I'm sure he was in total shock. So, look, folks, a lot of people are feeling that today. I'm not saying cry tears with them, have sympathy for them. No, that's the worst thing you can do. That's enabling them. You don't enable people. You don't become codependent toward them. You let them go ahead and suffer what they're suffering so that it will help them. That's the whole point. They need to shed those tears. They need to be irrational for a little while. And then when everything goes right and some of them wake up because God is being good to them, they will look back and say, oh my goodness, how horrible was I back then? How many of us have done that? Woke up from our past and said, oh my God, I can't even believe that I was like that back then. So grace goes a long way. Kindness does go a long way, but you got to let them go through it. They have to go through this process if they're going to come out on the other side. All right, let's move on. These are awesome videos. Please go to my X account and watch these videos. They are incredible. Okay, but I can't show them on YouTube. Now, this is a doctor. I'm going to bring him up.
Myself, the one thing I'm looking forward to most over everything.
Okay, once again, I'm going to have to go back as it automatically cuts on. And I need to introduce him. He's going to talk about the medical tyranny that occurred over the last 8 years. Well, from the pandemic on up. And from the woke agenda in the medical industry. What was happening there and what needs to happen. And we'll talk about that in just a moment.
Trump is so close to winning, you can actually feel it. And as a medical doctor myself, the one thing I'm looking forward to most over everything is seeing many, many, many medical doctors arrested for giving gender-affirming care to children, castrating them, sterilizing them, mutilating them with these medications and surgeries, and doing it to children who have been lured into one of the most insane ideologies in human history. Doctors like Dr. Joanna Olson Kennedy here in Southern California at the USC Keck School of Medicine, who has abused many kids and deserves to be in prison.
He named her. I want that to impact you. Look, he's really, really angry at what has happened to these innocent children who have been misled and mistreated by adults, and especially doctors, not just that one doctor, but a lot of them. That, when you're a kid, you look up to, they have the white coat on, they have the stethoscope, and you go, wow, that's a doctor. You look up to them as a kid. Oh, yeah, doctor tells me something. It must be true. I'm going to listen to that doctor. And to abuse those children as a doctor, well, you can see why this doctor is really, really upset with his colleagues.
And the medical field as a whole needs to be completely dismantled because they have shown that they cannot police themselves. And every doctor involved in the care of these kids who has given puberty blockers or hormones or surgeries to these kids needs to be arrested as well. That includes all the anesthesiologists, all the endocrinologists, the psychiatrists, anybody involved in the care of these kids deserves to be arrested, including many pediatricians. And quite frankly, it's probably going to amount to hundreds, if not several thousands of doctors who deserve to be arrested. I'm not sure whether it will actually happen because they're going to claim defenses that, oh, it was the standard of care at the time. But at the very least, they need to lose their license, and the medical field as a whole needs to be completely and utterly dismantled.
And with this movement that we were talking about, that elected Trump, that very well could happen. All right, there we go. You never know. But a lot of people are looking for justice. Here's a principle that I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding. If you do not make people accountable for doing things that are wrong, for breaking, not just breaking laws, but for breaking moral standards set forth by our Creator, then what you're doing is you are contributing to the breakdown of society. And you're contributing to the breakdown of that person. No one comes to repentance until they are burdened by their sin. No one straightens out their life until they face the consequences of their actions. And holiness suffers when justice is not done. That's why God had to punish us for our sins. Because if he did not do that, he would not be holy. Do you understand? So Christ came and died on the cross as our substitute. Propitiation is a term used in the scriptures. And he paid the price that we should have paid, that we deserve to pay. And those who are in him receive that payment and are reconciled back to God. But let's move on. So I want you to hear what this individual has to say on CNN. He does what I believe to be a wonderful job of explaining why people voted for Trump.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican, for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids. And they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives.
Look at the panel. The four people that he's speaking to. Now this is, I'm trying to find my cursor. This is him over here that's speaking. There's Van Jones. There's I can't remember his name. Anyway, these folks, they're dumbfounded. They're mesmerized. You know why? Because they know what they've done, folks. They know what they have done. And I think what you're seeing here is fear. They're scared. Oh, this is Anderson Cooper. I couldn't think of his name. Anderson Cooper right here. Now, I don't know these two because I never watched CNN, but they're scared because they know what's coming. And they know that they're going to be held accountable for what they have done wrong. Let's hear more of what the gentleman speaking has to say.
I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line. And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough. This is a mandate.
So, folks, that panel, I don't know that they have the capacity or the ability to understand what this gentleman is saying. He's Scott Jennings, senior political commentator. I don't think they can grasp what Scott is saying because of their woke ideology. That's what blinds them to the truth. They just can't get past that lobotomy that they received and that box that they were put into and could never get outside of the boundaries of that woke box. And they can't think outside the boundaries of that woke box. And so they're completely dumbfounded by this truth that Scott Jennings is giving them. All right, I have more. We're just getting started, folks. I'm going to have more through the weeks. This is Dr. Stella Emanuel, and she's singing God Bless the USA. You can see how happy she is, jumping around. She's so thrilled that Trump won the election. And she said this: the Lord told us to bring him a worthy sacrifice and prayers, and he will give us victory. 40 days around the clock prayer. We won. Hallelujah. I told you, folks, that's the power behind this movement. Well, I told you that they cannot think outside of their woke box, and I'm going to give you an example of that right here. So let me back this up and just listen in.
Let's be honest about this, okay? Let's be absolutely blunt about it. There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country. And anybody who thinks that that did not in any way impact on the outcome of this race is wrong.
Can you imagine a woman of color acting like Donald Trump acted, even for one day? The kinds of stuff that he said, the kinds of things that he did, the way that he would insult people. If you're a person of color, you don't feel you have that freedom. You feel like you really are somewhat constrained. You're always running something in the back of your mind like, how am I going to be perceived? And also, if I say this, will they think that all black people are this way or all women are this way? So there's a license that he had to just be a fool, just to be an obnoxious ass to everyone. And for people to go, well, he can still be president.
Let's be honest about this, okay? Let's be absolutely
So,
blunt about
yeah,
it.
he's repeating.
There were
So we'll not let him repeat. Think for a moment about what they just said. They cannot think outside of that woke box that they have placed themselves in. They cannot think of people as individuals. People are not individuals in their mind because they received the lobotomy. People are categories. And in critical race theory, it's called intersectionality. They are categories. And intersectionality is a hierarchy, if you will, or a caste system of victimhood. And victimhood is not determined by how hard you've had it over the last 4 years. No. Victimhood is determined by your category. And if you're a black, gay, transvestite, well, you're in the way up in the victim category. But if you're a white, male, straight Christian, you were strongly in the victimizer or the abuser category. And it doesn't matter how much you've been victimized or you have been abused over the last 4 years. If you're in that category, you cannot be a victim. You're not allowed to be a victim. It's utterly impossible for you to be a victim. I mean, that would go against every principle of intersectionality. And so you can see why when Scott was saying to them, these people have had enough, they're fed up, they voted that way because they've been abused one day too many, and they finally had enough, and they rebelled, they revolted against everything you guys are trying to push on them and stand for. And they're just sitting there dumbfounded and they just can't process it in their brain. And this video here demonstrates the reason. They are incapable, utterly incapable of processing that understanding of the reality of society, because they're living in the critical race theory intersectionality world of irrationality. And they cannot live in reality because it's utterly impossible unless they dump the lobotomized brain that they have received from the so-called education system and put a brain of logic and reason back in. And that's where we are, folks. That's the other part of the country that is weeping and crying and fussing and throwing their teenage style tantrums all over TikTok and recording themselves doing that because they don't know what else to do. They think they have to exploit their victimhood to the entire world, to express it, to show the entire world how mean and nasty and horrible they have been to them. And so they've got to put it on TikTok and show the entire world that they have been a very nasty, mean people to victimize us like this by voting for Orange Man. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Yes, it's a disorder. And I believe that Trump... the TDS, Trump dysfunction or Trump disorder syndrome, is in a sense a real thing. And I just explained to you the reason it's a real thing. because they have lobotomized themselves and become critical race theory, intersectionality, woke robots who cannot think beyond that ideology, that worldview. Let's move on. All right, so this is, we'll just do a little bit of this. This is a short
I mean,
clip.
let's talk about.
This is a short clip. And this is on election night. So just listen in and see what you can glean from this video.
I mean, let's talk about the significance of a Republican Senate if, and I repeat, if Donald Trump is elected president. It means that they can confirm without any Democratic votes any appointment he makes to his cabinet, to the government, to the Supreme Court, should there be a vacancy. It's an enormous advantage to a president. And at this point, we haven't talked about it much, but in the House, although that hasn't been decided yet, the Republicans have flipped 3 Democratic seats. The Democrats haven't flipped a single Republican seat. So there is the possibility here of a complete united Republican government with Donald Trump as the president and with a Republican House and Senate, which means that in terms of appointments, in terms of immigration policy, economic policy, environmental policy, you name it, he could have a pretty blank check. I mean, let's talk about the significance of a Republican Senate if, and
let's go back over here. All right. To some degree, he understood the impact of what happened. Folks, it was a win of the popular vote and the Electoral College. The nation, for the most part, turned red. Even California turned, for the most part, red. Somebody said it looks like it runs along the San Andreas Fault. On the west side of the fault, it was pretty much blue, and on the east side of the fault, it was all red. California is turning red, folks, and right under our noses, and we're not capable of seeing it. But it's happening. I think there might be hope for California. Let's move right along. And there's a little meme of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Of course, AI created that. Dancing, I can't play the music because, copyright. Having more fun than a human being should have. Of course, the late Rush Limbaugh said that, but I will bring up this red wave that swept across the country. Got the presidency, got the Senate, got the House, and got the popular vote. So this is General Flynn, and he's on the Alex Jones show. So I cannot do the audio. I'm sorry, folks. I can't do cannot do the audio of him talking for copyright reasons. But General Flynn here, what he's telling you, I can tell you what he's saying. He's saying that it's all about objective. If he tells his troops to take a hill, they don't just run up the hill and take the hill. The objective is to take the hill and then go beyond the hill and chase the enemy down in their territory. And what he's saying is this is exactly what has to happen when fighting the deep state. You have to go into their territory and take them down in their own territory. And this is what he's saying that Trump has to do in the White House. So that's basically what he was saying. All right, this gentleman is not real happy about the election results. And he's really mad, but I don't think I want to play him because I can't remember if he uses foul language. Now, this is, he is Orban, Trump's win is the biggest comeback in the history of Western politics. Quote, it's been a huge fight. He was threatened with prison. His wealth was confiscated. They wanted to kill him. The whole media world turned against him in America, and he still won. And he is a head of state. So let me, in Europe, as I recall. Let me play this.
I see a shining
Hungary.
victory, perhaps the biggest comeback in the history of Western politics. It's been a huge fight. He was threatened with prison. His wealth was confiscated. They wanted to kill him. The whole media world turned against him in America, and he still won. This means a big encouragement for those who believe in willpower, fighting, perseverance. For the world, it means the hope of peace. At the start of the year, we hoped that by the end of the year, the pro-peace forces would be in the majority, and we will defeat the pro-war forces. Now there is a huge chance for this. And if this happens, then the economy can take an upturn, and the US-Hungarian relations can return to the old golden age. We have several plans that we can achieve in the coming years with President Donald Trump.
So, folks, this election doesn't, I don't know how much Americans understand this or realize this. But these presidential elections affect more than just our country. The presidential election in the United States does affect the entire world. It really does. And I know people say, they hear that and it kind of rolls off of them. They go, yeah. It's true, folks. I went overseas when I was in the Navy. I traveled all over Southeast Asia during the time of the Carter years and then the Reagan years. And I had the opportunity to speak with people in foreign countries. South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, even China. Yes, we pulled into Hong Kong back when the British had it. Japan, Okinawa, Australia. I mean, I can go down the list. The Philippines. And all of them would talk with us about our elections. They knew a lot about what was happening in our country politically. And and you begin to realize, my goodness, the United States has more influence around the world than we really didn't realize how much it was. So yes, these heads of states were watching this election, and really we're going to base a lot of what they do based upon who went into the White House, because it was going to have an effect upon them. So yeah, this has a worldwide effect. I just want you to understand that. So here we go. And of course, the head of state of Hungary is happy the election went the way it did. But there's more. So there's Bannon. He's been on the warpath. I mean, he's ready to take names and do some other things, right? Kick butt and take names. He's ready to go at it. And so he says, America will no longer tolerate this communist regime, ripping our border wide open, turning our kids trans, and promoting abortion as reproductive rights. The American people are fed up with a weaponized government. President Trump is going back to the White House. And there it is. He says, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm so excited. And of course, she was on Bannon's show. And he's saying justice is coming. I want to play this one because I want you to hear. Now, he's on the warpath because he just got out of jail for something that he shouldn't have been in jail for. But I want you to hear what he has to say about Trump, and he knows Trump really well. I want you to hear the heart of Trump.
You stole the 2020 election. You've mocked and ridiculed and put people in prison and broken people's lives because you said this thing was stolen. This entire phony thing is getting swept out. Biden's getting swept out. Kamala Harris is getting swept out. MSNBC is getting swept out. The Justice Department's getting swept out. The FBI is getting swept out. You people suck, okay? And now you're going to pay the price for trying to destroy this country. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to get to the bottom of where are the 600,000 votes. You manufactured them to steal this election for President Trump in 2020. And think where this country would be if we hadn't gone through the last 4 years of your madness, okay? You don't deserve any respect, you don't deserve any empathy, and you don't deserve any pity. And if anybody gives it to you, it's Donald J. Trump, because he's got a big heart and he's a good man. A good man that you're still going to try to put in prison on the 26th of this month. This is how much you people suck, okay?
Now, he talks about the big heart of Trump that was forgiving. Now, who is that? Because that is not the Trump that has been portrayed to us. How many people have talked about how mean and nasty Trump is? Bannon is saying he's not like that at all. We'll keep him going.
You've just tried to destroy his business thing, and he came back in the greatest show of political courage, I think, in world history. Like Cincinnatus coming back from the plow. He's the American Cincinnatus. And what he has done is a profiling courage. We've had his back, but I got to tell you, he may be empathetic. He may have a kind heart. He may be a good man, but we're not, okay? And you deserve, as Natalie Winters says, not retribution, justice. But you deserve what we call rough Roman justice, and we're prepared to give it to you. So you stole.
Okay, now I don't think that one will get me a copyright hit. I don't think it will. So, but you can see the passion here. You can see how he describes Trump, and then how he describes himself saying, I'm not going to be as forgiving as Trump. And we're coming for you. So, do you see the contrast there? Now, this lady is from the United Kingdom, and I want you to hear what she has to say about the election.
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers Britain, where for many of us Trump-supporting, freedom-loving individuals, it's the best day ever. It couldn't be better here in the UK. We have the BBC in absolute ruins. They were unable to announce Trump victory at 7 a.m. and they said Kamala still had a very narrow margin of a route to victory, even though it's obvious she had no route to victory at all. Channel 4's coverage was shite when it started and then completely collapsed, leaving the channel having to pay repeat episode of Friends or something because they had no words to speak about the glorious victory of Trump. And now we have a leader of this country who actively sent over his own teams to try and campaign for Kamala. And we have a foreign secretary who called the new president of the United States of America some of the worst names under the sun. So we can look forward to Trump punishing both of them very hard in the near future. For now, I'm just going to indulge myself in all the tears of all the people who said for all the weeks that they said, oh, it's on a knife edge, it's on a narrow margin. Well, looks like Trump won the popular vote, looks like he's got the House and the Senate, and it looks like most of the swing states have gone red as well, and Georgia by 200,000 votes. I mean, truly, one of the best days ever. Just want to say thank you to all the patriots over in America, to let you know that patriots in this country are cheering you on as loudly as we possibly can. God bless Donald J. Trump, and God bless the United States of America.
Folks, wonderful words there, but I want you to understand the grieving process, because that's what you're seeing. They've lost something. Now, it's not the same as the death of a family member or anything like that. But to them, it's traumatic, okay? Especially these deep state politicians who know they're about to face the music. And so the grieving process is shock, anger, depression, acceptance. That's how the grieving process goes. Now, they've gone from shock to anger, and that's what she was saying, that they're starting to call Trump horrible names. That's the anger stage. Then will be the depression stage. And I really wonder if they will ever make it to the acceptance stage. If they do, well, that's where they can begin to understand where they went wrong. They can begin to open up their mind to a different way of thinking, is when you get to the acceptance stage. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't get there. They stay in the depression stage because they can't get beyond the box, the ideological box that they have placed themselves in. Now, let's move on. Wish that would stop doing that. All right. So let me see, I got to choose carefully because I'm concerned about copyright issues. So this is, I think this is just celebration. Let me see.
President-elect J.D. Vance, Second Lady. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President-elect Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and the Trump family, accompanied by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance, along with friends and campaign staff. And I'm proud to be an American, wearing these diamonds.
Stop the video because the music came in, and I will not. I'm trying to avoid a copyright. So there you go. That was the announcement when he came out, and a lot of people excited and happy and joyful over that because they've been through a lot of crap over the last 8 years. The pandemic and then the presidency of Joe Biden. And they've been mistreated, treated horribly. And they finally get a reprieve. And it's a joyful thing for them. So it's okay to be happy over that. This video I'd love to show you, but I can't. It's amazing. But I'll get a copyright on YouTube for showing it. So go to my X account, Jeff Claiborne, and watch it. You will get goosebumps. It's amazing. All right. So this gentleman, he's talking about why he voted for Trump. He doesn't like everything about Trump, but I want you to hear his reasoning for voting.
We just voted. Who we vote for?
Trump.
I personally don't like Trump. I'm not a fan of him.
But we voted for him.
We voted for him. And here's why. I heard someone say the other day that Election Day is not Valentine's Day. You're not voting for someone if you like them personally, if you like all the decisions they made. But we decided to vote for the one candidate that acknowledges our king. Right? When you hear somebody say Christ is king at a meeting and one candidate said wrong meeting, red flags to me.
Very clear.
And so Trump is not a perfect person. I actually personally don't even care for him, but I do know that he acknowledges Jesus Christ, and because of that, our values and our morals, that's what matters to us. The economy is going to always be jacked up.
Yep.
Housing is going to always be jacked up. What's going on in this crime is always going to be jacked up. But more importantly, I wanted to stand with someone that acknowledges that Jesus is king and we believe in life. So hope you guys vote. Let's go.
Go out and vote today. Your lines are going to get long, so go the earlier the better.
Yep.
But your vote matters, and we have to do what God's called us to do, and that is to make an impact in our world and be a light in this world. Go vote.
Yeah, let's make America godly again.
Ooh,
that's good.
Think about that, folks. They don't personally like Trump, but a light bulb went on. They understood something. One side was praising Satan, and the other side was praising the Lord Jesus Christ. How can that even be close to being a tough decision for a Christian? Well, if you're wolf in sheep's clothing, that might explain why you would vote for the Satanist. All right. Yes, let me play this for you. We're going to be coming down to the end in just a moment. There's so much I want to put out for you, but I think this really helps to solidify what that gentleman and his wife was saying in the previous video.
Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try. We have to try. And it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term. When we became more and more successful, people started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it, because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I want you to notice the tone. Not just what he said, but how he said it. There was not a drop of arrogance in how he spoke those words. He's been humbled, folks. He's not the same man he was when he first walked down that elevator to run for president the first time. This is a different man. He has grown. He's matured. He sees things differently. He went from attacking everybody, mocking them, saying some pretty rough things toward people, to this. And one thing that bothers me about how we view politics is that we don't think anybody's ever able to change. Once they are labeled, then they are labeled for life. And it doesn't matter how many times they repent. It doesn't matter how much they change. It doesn't matter if they lament ever being the way they were. They can never get rid of that label. And that is the self-righteousness of the Pharisees that labels people and sticks that label on them and never removes it. We need to be gracious and we need to be loving. And that brings the power of God into what we're doing. Okay, I guess I have time for one more. There's so much. I'll do another video tomorrow and cover some of the things I was not able to cover. This thing keeps popping up and there we go. It messes my ability to move along. I got to make this a good one. I don't want people lamenting and crying and moaning. That's what a lot of this is. I'm not going to pass that one. protests in Chicago, but the police are not, they're not playing around now when it comes to these protests. They're not playing around with that anymore. This is a good one. Let's go with this one.
Comes the leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank the Prime Minister for his almost warm welcome? And can I also echo the comments that he has made? It is an immense privilege and the honour of my life to lead the Conservative Party. And I look forward to joining him at the Cenotaph this Remembrance Sunday. As leader of His Majesty's opposition, I will be taking a different approach to the last opposition by being a constructive opposition. And so I would like to start by congratulating President-elect Trump on his impressive victory this morning. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary met him in September. Did the Foreign Secretary take that opportunity to apologise for making derogatory and scatological references, including, and I quote, Trump is not only a woman-hating, neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath, he is also a profound threat to the international order. And if he did not apologise, will the Prime Minister do so now on his behalf?
And this is the anger stage I'm telling you about. They are lashing out because they are angry. And that's all they know how to do, folks, is to lash out. President of Mexico came out while they were still counting some of the last states, even though it was clear that Trump had won the election. And she said, well, we will make a statement later. Now, this is a good one, too. I'm just going to go just a slight bit longer, folks. I know it's a long video, but it's worth it. So let's take a look at what this lady has to say.
It's like 4:20 a.m. Eastern Time.
Oh,
my hotel room here in West Palm Beach.
There we go.
He did it, and it feels so good. You know what? This is what happens. I hope people learn lessons here. This is what happens when you push people to the brink. This is what happens when you choose to divide instead of bring together. Barack Obama, Kamala Harris. This is what happens when you scold people. This is what happens when you put America second, third, fourth, or last, and you allow illegals to come into this country and ignore our tax-paying citizens who need help. This is what happens when you ignore hurricane victims and sweep it under the rug when you should have been helping them. This is what happens when you force people to take an unproven experimental shot and you tear apart this country with COVID. This is what happens when you tell people that, no, girls and women, they don't matter as much as we preach, and boys and young men, you can come into sports and come into our private spaces. This is what happens when you try to ruin America. You get an uprising and you get people saying enough is enough. And you have people like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. and Elon Musk and people coming from across the aisle and saying, you know what? No, America is more important. This is what happens. I am in awe of this president-elect. I'm in awe of his family and of his team, and what they have done is something that no one will ever fully comprehend. I'm so proud to be an American. I'm so proud of what we have witnessed, and I don't know, speechless. Thank God. And congrats, America. It's time to bring back hope.
I love her tone. Very calm, not, rubbing it in people's face or anything like that. Very calm and very gracious. And what she had to say was right on target. Okay, one last one. This guy goes in to wake up his mom to tell her that Trump won. We'll have to end on this one. So this is America waking up to the reality that their nightmare just ended.
Hey, Mom, Trump's our president!
Is he really?
Yeah!
Oh, thank you, God. Thank you. I've been up here praying and praying.
Yeah! Trump, motherfucker, yeah!
Let me see. Let me look. Let me
No, you come downstairs if you want. That's what you wanted, Mama.
No, I've been praying up here all night.
Got us a good president that gives a care about America for once. Puts us first instead of non-citizens.
I thought they said they weren't gonna know nothing till tomorrow.
No, they're celebrating down there. Let's do it. Woo!
Well, America is celebrating. And have you seen the ones of the college campuses where they announced that Trump won? And they lose it, just celebrating the Trump victory. There you go.
If you are seeing this, just know that the great deplorables of the United Kingdom love Mr. President. If you are seeing this, just know that the great deplorables of the United Kingdom love
Trump is going to say.
Mr. President.
They're celebrating around the world because the nightmare is about to end. Elon Musk says the future is going to be fantastic. Okay, we won't go into that. I want to show this is the one I've been trying to get to. So I want to show you this. Watch the reaction.
My college campus after hearing Trump won. My college campus after hearing Trump won.
They're not protesting. They're not graffitiing. They're not burning buildings. They're not tearing things up. They're celebrating. It's a new world. It's a different response than what we're used to. And this is the next generation. Take courage, take hope, my friend. Continue the good fight. And we will see better days. God bless. With that, I'm just going to say, thank you, we love you, and we'll see you next time on the C-Files.